Hello, welcome to another episode of the Algebros. Today we're diving into an amazing story by Arthur Miller, The Crucible, and discussing one of the play's most complex characters, John Proctor. He is a sinner beyond redemption, or does he embody Christ-like qualities? Let's break this down. To some, John Proctor is a simply flawed man, an adulterer who brings his own downfall. But today, I argue that John Proctor is, in fact, a Christ-like figure. He may not be perfect, but his journey mirrors key aspects of a Christ sacrifice. Let's look at three major reasons why John Proctor is more than just a sinner. The first reason, he admits his mistakes. First, John Proctor acknowledges his sins. Unlike many others in Salem who hide behind lies and self-righteousness, Proctor openly admits his wrongdoing. He also confesses to his affair with Abigail Williams, knowing that doing so will tarnish his name. He did this all to save his wife, because he cared that much about how much he sinned. Jesus, too, taught the power of repentance and forgiveness. He encouraged sinners to acknowledge their faults and seek redemption. Proctor does exactly this. He doesn't make excuses. Instead, he seeks to repair his marriage with Elizabeth and then regain his integrity. This honesty makes him more Christ-like than sinful. He tries to reenact what Jesus does and be more like him, closer to him. Furthermore, Proctor's willingness to open up to his past sins shows a deep moral responsibility. He doesn't try to blame Abigail entirely, nor does he evade his own involvement. His ability to accept his faults rather than shift the blame onto others is a significant moment in his character arc, demonstrating humility and a genuine desire to atone. All this is saying is Proctor admits to his mistakes and he wants to change for the better and become more Christ-like. The next reason we're going to talk about, out of three major reasons, is he always, no matter what circumstance, fights for the truth. Another reason John Proctor aligns with Christ-like virtues is his fight for truth. When the Salem witch trials continue to spiral out of control, many choose self-preservation over honesty. Proctor, however, he stands against the hysteria. He refuses to falsely accuse others and works tirelessly to expose the corruption of the court. Jesus, too, was a champion of truth. He challenged the hypocrisy of religious leaders and spoke against injustice, even at great personal risk. He looked to Paris for a lot of help, because Paris wasn't one of the overtaken religious leaders. Proctor mirrors this when he boldly confronts Judge Danforth and Reverend Paris, exposing the trials for what they truly are, a fraud. He could have simply saved himself by giving in, but he chooses to fight for what's right instead. He would never sign the papers and give his name away. It's all he had left. His willingness to stand against the masses, even when it puts his life at risk, is a clear sign of his deep moral convictions. While others are willing to manipulate the truth to serve their own ends. Proctor holds firm in his beliefs, refusing to let fear dictate his actions. This courage sets him apart and strengthens the argument that he is more than just a flawed man. He is a man of principle. That's all for me today, but I'm going to hand it over to Daniel Lima, and he's going to do the rest of the reasons. Daniel?
Alright, for this segment of this podcast, it's going to be dies for his beliefs. Finally, the most striking parallel between Proctor and Christ is Proctor's ultimate sacrifice. When faced with the choice to falsely confess and live or tell the truth and die, he chooses truth. His refusal to sign a false confession is his moment of power. Jesus, too, was given the chance to escape crucifixion, but chose to rather die than deny his teachings. Proctor, like Christ, sacrifices himself for a higher purpose, his name, his dignity, and the hope that his death might inspire others to see the truth. His final act is not just an assertion of personal integrity, but an example of moral strength. His decision to die rather than live with a lie solidifies his transformation from a man filled with guilt to no one who embraces his own redemption. This act restores his personal honor and sends a message that personally integrity is worth more than life itself, in a society where lies rule and fear dictates, and changes actions. Proctor's final stand serves as a center of truth and resistance against injustice. And this conclusion is going to be about, is John Proctor a sinner beyond redemption? No. He is flawed, yes, but his journey is one of redemption, integrity, and sacrifice. He admits his sins, fights for truth, and ultimately lays down his life for his beliefs. If that isn't Christ-like, I don't know what is. His character arc in The Crucible is a testament to the complexity of human nature. He begins as a man burdened by guilt, struggling with his past, yet he transforms into a symbol of unwavering truth and sacrifice. By the end of the play, his actions resonate far beyond his story. They challenge the moral decay of his society and inspire others to question the world around them. That's all for today's episode of Algebros. What do you think? Is John Proctor a tragic sinner or a noble person? Let us know your thoughts, and be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into literature's most difficult characters. Until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep reading.